Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast. Come for a drink, but stay for the speculation. What makes a good Starship? The ability to get dates. No, that's not it. Well, we discuss it at length, and Chris McGuffin, podcaster extraordinaire, joins us. It's just like buying a car, but for space travel. So find the bar on the ship and get yourself a drink. This is the SciFi Pubcast. Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. And I'm looking around the bar, and yes, of course, anyone's welcome to join us at the bar. So if you're passionate about something, you want to be on a podcast, please let us know. Email us on management@scifipubcast.space or hit us up on social media. But right now, today, I'm looking around, and who do I see? I see Carrie Simpson. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
I see Derek Beebe. Hi, Derek.
Hey.
Oh, God.
Who let him back in?
Yeah, exactly. And, a customer we haven't seen in a bit. It's Mr. Chris McGuffin. How you doing, Chris?
I am doing fantastic.
Good
to be back.
Oh, God. Okay, let's start this off because everyone knows about Carrie and Derek. Chris, you're a podcaster of sorts, aren't you?
You could attempt to say that, yeah.
Well, what's your current shows?
Well, right now I have not a whole lot running. People may know me. I used to be on the Echo Base podcast, which was on Random Chatter, or is on Random Chatter. I did Crash Couch, which is currently on a hiatus until we start up season 4. That's an Expanse podcast. I also do Chordcast, which is a music podcast, and used to do Chasing Fandom. That's sort of up in the air whether or not I will continue with that. But yeah, I sort of been around the block a couple times. And of course, I've been on this show before as well.
Yeah, and we love you for that. And I understand you recently made a move to Nashville, Tennessee a few months ago?
That is correct. I moved from the good old state of West Virginia down here to Tennessee, and I'm loving life in Central Time now. So,
yeah. God. Whereas, of course, I'm living the nice, stable, but somewhat boring life in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. It's winter. It's it's raining today, which is kind of pathetic. Usually it's snowing. So it's kind of cool, icy rain. And then there's, of course, Carrie. Carrie, how's California doing?
California is nice and sunny. All the fires are out, at least as far as I've been told. We got some rain last week, which was nice. And yeah, I'm just plugging along over here. I was at a seminar IKEA seminar this morning. So I spent 3 hours getting my butt kicked, and now I'm here with you guys.
Lovely.
Did you say an IKEA seminar?
Aikido.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
so don't test me, Derek.
Oh, yes. And, of course, Derek from, Strasbourg, Pennsylvania. How you doing, Derek?
You just gave them my location.
Yes, don't worry. It's that microchip in your brain. They already know your location. Yes, you're on the grid, like it or not. So, So how you doing, Derek?
I'm all right. We had a horrific snowstorm a couple of weeks ago, but we survived it. Mm-hmm. I got home just barely. Hasn't snowed since.
Right. Fair enough. And, of course, I need to ask you about the SciFi Pubcast's kitchen. How's the kitchen doing?
I'm actually really overworked right now because we actually have a customer in the bar for once, so my workload just doubled. I actually have to wash dishes now because someone will notice.
Oh, God. I really need to hire more better staff. So that's how the kitchen's going?
Yep, and today's special in honor of our theme is the Millennium Falcon special. It's a hamburger with an olive on the side because, of course, George Lucas invented the design of the Millennium Falcon when he was eating at a diner, and he got a hamburger with an olive on the side, and he looked down and he said, "Hey, that's a spaceship."
My God, amazing. And it's kind of, I don't know, everything's connected in the universe, so to speak. And my big thing, if you want to ask me how my life's doing, is that, work's busy. I'm back to normal. I'm reading a lot of self-help books. I've been trying to teach myself how to cook, so I bought a bunch of stuff. The This is my midlife crisis, full blown. And as a little aside, because we love our little rabbit holes on this, on the Sci-Fi Pubcast, I know I'm late to the party, but there's a book out there. It's bright orange. It's entitled "The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck." It's by Mark Manson. It's been out for about 2-3 years. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's quite funny. So if you ever hit a rut in your life, read the first 100 pages of that book. Yeah, it puts things in perspective, and he incorporates a lot of different concepts. But it's not self-help books for self-help idiots. It's self-help books for people like myself who's cynical and quite jaded. So highly recommend that.
What's wrong with the second 100 pages?
Yeah, it's good as well, but the first 100 pages really, where he lays things out. Okay, housekeeping. I don't think we have any housekeeping this episode. Holy fuck. That's like the first.
Well, I mean, other than having to clean up after whatever the heck it is Derek's been doing in the kitchen, the Ewoks are not happy with me right now.
Oh, God, the Ewoks. Good thing it's the holidays. We're having an ugly sweater Christmas party, right? So all the staff will wear ugly sweaters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's happening on an undisclosed date. So can't wait for that.
Public service note, at Target right now, ugly sweaters are 40% off with the Cartwheel app.
Oh, wow. Lovely.
Yeah.
You just did that right through the narrative. I love it. So
Are you posting pictures, Joel, of the ugly sweater?
yeah, I might. Okay. Remember, we're just not a podcast anymore. We have a Facebook page managed by Derek. Thanks, Derek. We have a Twitter account that can be snarky at times, mostly just for information. And we have, of course, an Instagram account, what I do, which is more beer and restaurant related, as opposed to science fiction, because we need to incorporate more pub feelings. It's about interaction and conversation. It's about being civilized in an uncivilized world or universe. How's that?
Sure.
Yes. Fair. Okay. I am drinking water, but yeah, I did have 2 beers at the bar to catch a football game before I came back to my apartment. So yes, I'm taking a pause by drinking water. So if it sounds so philosophical, that's kind of where my world has gone to. Okay. So we do this one little tiny beer recommendation, and so far it's been me picking the beer recommendations. But any of you guys want, you can always pitch your own beer. So this episode's beer recommendation is called the OPA. Yes, OPA.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that in honor of Chris being here?
Yeah, probably.
Outer Planetary Alliance?
Yes, from the Expanse series. Not quite. I think they pronounce it UPA. It's a Greek thing, apparently. But so it's an OPA balanced IPA. It's a strong beer. And since I'm, of course, right now living in Ottawa for the last 2.5 years, I've been doing a lot of Ottawa beer. So it's from Nita Beer Company, located in Ottawa. I had it, of course, last couple nights ago. This is what I do, guys. I go out and I do my research, and I take that very seriously. And right now, it's all about craft beer. So it's a very nice, strong OPA. And I usually hate IPAs and even pale ales. I'm more of either a lager or a pilsner, or I go at the other end, which is the stouts or the porters. But actually, I like it. I actually could have ordered a second one, but it was very high alcohol percentage. It's 6.6, and it has an international bitterness unit rating of 75, which of course Dirk doesn't know anything about, right?
I was about to say I had no idea what any of those words meant.
There we go. Check it out on tap. And moving on. That's the pub portion. Now we're moving to the science fiction portion of the show. Right. So we're talking about what makes a great starship or starships across science fiction. This is going to be a free-for-all. I'm sure there's going to be arguments. I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion. What makes a good starship? What's your favorite starship? What's your less liked starship? Let's go. Because quite honestly, I think we haven't talked about this very much, at least not in a podcast format. I know there's been some Slack conversation on one of the channels, which some of us are on. But to me, I think it's all about personal taste. And I think it boils down to utility. What do you want the starship to do? Do you want it to be very fast? You looking for speed? Are you looking for power? Are you looking for size? Is style and beauty part of it? Or are you just concerned about functionality? Hell, do you want the special capabilities, like things like time travel, cloaking devices? It's so, it's like buying a car. It says so much about your identity, what you like and what you don't like.
Well, let's address the size thing for a minute. It can't be so large that if you walk, the movie will be over.
Yeah. Well, personally, I think take the original Death Star. that qualifies as a starship because it moves. You know?
That's true.
It's very powerful. You can blow up planets. It's not like Star Killer base, which is, of course, it's a modified planet. But the Death Star itself, well, that's all Starship.
Well,
Yeah,
if it can move, it's a starship. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, unlike Spaceball 1, the Death Star had turbo lifts.
Yeah, true enough. I don't know. Guys, where do you want to start?
Well, I think it's all about appearance. That's the only thing that matters to me, whether the ship design looks cool and whether the interior looks cool.
Really? So can you give us an example, Derek?
The Millennium Falcon, a Star Destroyer. I mean, those are iconic visual designs. And when you go into the bridge, it also looks awesome. And the Enterprise D, whenever I think of a generic Starship bridge, I will always, for the rest of my life, picture the Enterprise D. That kind of, the little consoles that are streamlined and the little walkway to the security thing in the back and the captain's chairs in the center and the big view screen in the front. To me, that will always be a Starship bridge.
Right.
I tend to like the cozier bridge, like the Defiant. The
Defiant's good too.
Little more functionality, a little less, you have to go from, if you have to go from one side of the bridge to the other, it's not as far of a walk.
What do you think, Chris? Are these people out to lunch or what?
As much as I like the good appearance of a starship, and I will admit I'm a big X-wing guy from Star Wars, mainly because it looks cool. That being said, I think that's sometimes a bit of an overrated aspect. Personally, I'm more about what's inside the starship and what the features that you can get out of it, rather than what it looks like on the outside.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, actually, this is possibly partly due to my martial arts upbringing, but I look at functionality more than I look at how pretty it is. It's nice if a starship is pretty, but if it doesn't do shit, then what's the point?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I think of something like I'm trying to think of like a useless starship.
Spaceship, Battleship Yamato? Any Mango people from the late 70s? Anyone? It's a battleship in space. Come on. Okay.
How about a runabout from Star Trek Next Generation? Or no, I'm sorry, the shuttle from Star Trek Next Generation and the runabout from DS9.
Well, those had some functionality. I mean, the runabouts at least had transporters and stuff.
Yeah, but they're basically good from flying from one point to the other. They're pretty useless in combat.
Well, they weren't supposed to be in combat. They were, again, they're to get someone from here to there.
It's an unpleasant galaxy, Carrie. Gotta defend yourself.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite spaceship is an X-Wing. I'm an old Star Wars guy. That's when I grew up as a kid. I love the X-Wing because you want to be in control of everything. Yeah, sure, there's a droid in the back doing your navigation for you, but it's a starfighter. But if I was going to, I don't know, smuggle stuff into other areas or territories, Millennium Falcon, sure. The Rocinante, I really like. I think the Rocinante is a much more sleeker starship than, say, the Millennium Falcon, which is quite ugly, and it's built for functionality and cargo, whereas, say, the Rocinante is something different. It is like a mini starship, like a warship. And
it was a warship, and then it was, not a warship.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, Chris.
No, that was me. But go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say that I'm not a fan of the Rocinante. I don't think it looks that cool. I think the interior is just kind of very generic. Like, I mean, without having to look it up, even though I've seen every episode and read all the books, I couldn't even tell you what it looks like offhand. It's just kind of isn't it just basically like a brick?
It's
sort of like a freighter is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to let customers know, we're talking about The Expanse. So the novels as well as the TV series. Season 4 is going to start sometime soon on Amazon. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
They are currently in the middle of production.
Excellent. And I haven't got my phone call yet to start on the show, so I'm quite disappointed on that.
I will say that the Rocinante is portrayed as being very badass in the books, in that it can take on a ship much higher tonnage, because it's basically the Defiant of the Expanse verse. It's a tough, mean little ship full of armor and weapons. So that's cool. But again, for me, it all comes down to visuals, and it just looks kind of generic for me.
Right. Honestly, if you want to think out of the box, I really like the ships from the movie Arrival, which we've done an episode on. That's the one with the Amy Adams movie that came out about 3 years ago.
Oh, you mean the big rocks?
The big
Cough
rocks.
drops?
Yeah, exactly. Because we always think of machines. So we think of iron and bolts, right? Okay, we think of like tanks in space. But honestly, I really like the non-funky mechanical stuff. You know,
Well, as far as we know, there wasn't any mechanical stuff on those. It was just, again, big rocks.
yeah.
Wait till I tell my friends. They don't have rocks that big.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different aesthetic. Again, my speech impediment aesthetic, and I don't know. I like different ideas and different concepts and all that good stuff. But let's go back to a point Derek originally made earlier in this conversation about the Starship Enterprise D. So NCC's 1701D, and that's you're talking about the one from the Next Generation, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to NCC 1701 in the original Star Trek. Was it A or B or something like that?
No, there was no bloody
originally
A, B, C, or D.
Right.
It was just NCC 1701.
And then when it got destroyed in Search for Spock at the end of Voyage Home, they premiered the A, which was basically the same ship.
Which I think was basically they refitted I want to say it's the Yorktown.
I don't know.
It was a different ship that they just refitted and renamed the Enterprise A.
I love it when people outgeek me. Please go on.
Can I just say, since we're talking about Star Trek, I think the Enterprise is one of the most overrated ships in all of science fiction.
Yes, go ahead, Chris.
Yes.
Like, I'm not a Star Trek guy, so maybe I'm not qualified to have this conversation. But I just, I look at it and I'm like, who designed that? Like, I get that it was the 60s or whatever, but, I mean, you could think that it would at least get some kind of facelift at this point. It just looks so ugly. I mean, here we are talking about visuals. It just looks so ugly, and I see it, I'm like, that does not look intimidating at all.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be intimidating. It was supposed to be an exploration ship.
Well, still, it doesn't look enticing. It just looks bland.
Yeah, but
it's like you remember when you're a kid and you have all of these Legos, but you have no instructions, so you just build things. It looks like that. Looks like some kid just built some random stuff out of the Legos that he or she had, and just that was the result.
I've always kind of liked the Enterprise.
I love the Enterprise,
and especially when they did the refit for motion picture, and they just made it look all nice and pretty and stuff. And again, I this is like completely in conflict with my need for functionality over prettiness. But yeah, the nice 10-minute pan tour around the ship in motion picture was just saying hello to the ship again.
And you gotta wonder, like before Star Trek, in the mid and late 60s, most spaceships were like rocket ships, like Flash Gordon type or Buck Rogers type. Even
True.
the Enterprise, it's not the most beautiful ship. I can see Chris's point, but at least it's not once fuselage with a big giant burner at the end of it. So, and I actually like the Birds of Prey, the Klingons starships in Star Trek. I think they're really neat.
I've been a fan of the Romulan Warbird since it debuted at the end of, I think it was season 1 of Next Gen. That ship is gorgeous.
Now, when you say Romulan Warbird, do you mean what in modern day is a Klingon bird of prey?
No, I mean the big, double hull.
Oh, okay. So the Next Generation Romulan Warbird.
I said the Next Gen Romulan
Gotcha.
Warbird.
Oh yeah, I love those too. I just thought that was a really interesting design. Oh, and we should mention the most simple thing of all, the Borg cube. That's a very iconic look as well.
Yeah, but we don't want to be square.
We can always be spherical.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah. You kind of, you think about this, right? If you're the set designer or the animator or the artist, you're trying to come up with new ideas and concepts of spaceships in science fiction or whatever. It's hard. Like, do you incorporate Earth designs? Like, again, going back to spaceship Yamamoto with it's basically a battleship from the Second World War, or do you come up with something completely and utterly brand new? You could say probably the TARDIS from the 1950s. What a concept. Or do you kind of do a mixed bag? Yeah, do Battleship Galactica, which is basically a long type spaceship. Or do you merge it with kind of Star Trek, but kind of not kind of like the Andromeda Ascendant from Gene Roddenberry's series Andromeda back in the 1990s now?
I think it started in 2000.
Oh god.
Yeah. It was 2000s because it was after Hercules.
Yeah. That's right.
Come to think of it, the Andromeda Ascendant looks like a Romulan warbird because it kind of has that double-hulled design with the large nose.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I never thought of that before.
It's kind of looks like a Honda Civic to me with the fins in the end. Kind of mess it up.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about bad Starship designs, there were the if you go back to the 70s and 80s, there were all of the other ships that would show up on Doctor Who, which basically just looked like someone just piled a whole bunch of cardboard boxes on top of each other and painted them the same color. Those were not designed to move through atmosphere at all.
No, it's kind of okay, we need to come up with a design in this afternoon before our coffee break. So what can we come up with quickly?
Exactly.
Yes. Because time is money, and we got to move on to the next project. And that's cool, actually. And I think sometimes that's under deadlines like that. Sometimes you get the best product. Going back to Derek's joke about the kitchen, the Millennium Falcon, that's a unique concept, and it's so iconic and so visual. And it's amazing. I wish I was George Lucas, in many ways, but I'm not.
While we're talking about starships with bad designs, I want to talk a little bit about one that as a kid, I actually really loved, but the older I've gotten, it's just sort of fallen wow, that does not look as good as I remember. The Clone Wars starfighters from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah?
Debuted in episode 2. Yeah, the ones that the clone troopers are in.
Right.
Or maybe you call them the Republic
starfighters. The ARC 170s?
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, the ones with the little wings coming out. I'm just not a fan of
the
those.
ones that look like an X-wing with extra wings?
No, the one before that one. The ones from episode 2.
The the Jedi Starfighter with the hyperspace ring?
No.
Yeah. Well,
no, not that one. I don't know the exact name of it, but it was one of the. It was in episode 2. And it was, remember when you were on the Battle of Geonosis and you see Yoda and the clones on that starship?
Oh, the ones that work like helicopters?
Okay.
Maybe? I don't know.
It's like a troop transport.
What are
Regardless, I think they all look dumb.
I
like them.
The spaceship which I cannot stand, and it just drives me bonkers. And it's
the gunship. The gunship. That's what I'm thinking.
The gunship.
But not from the last Starfighter. That's something else. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a cool ship.
That starship was cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Going back to the Phantom Menace, and I know I'm that generation of Star Wars fan, but these N1 fighters, or Naboo fighters, with the awful bright yellow. Oh God! I know George Lucas was going for the whole Flash Gordon look, but man, that's just it clashes with my views on aesthetics and beauty. Oh,
I love those. Those are on my list of favorite ships.
Well, if you're looking, space is very black. If you're looking for something that will be easily spotted in blackness, I guess the yellow works.
Yeah, but the visual identification is almost meaningless in space combat. I mean, you're doing everything through computer console displays.
Yeah, with great distances involved, but still.
I love those. I thought they were pretty.
Hey,
they were pretty. I agree, Derek. They were very pretty.
Oh,
you,
God,
Chris.
it's supposed to be a fighting machine. Okay, a fighter is out
Now-
there
now
to
tell us to get off
kill
the wall.
other fighters. Okay, it's violence. Come on. Okay, here's one. I have mixed feelings about this particular starship. It's from Star Wars, of course. What do you guys think of Slave One, Boba Fett's little starship?
Overrated.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I've never really given it much thought. It looks kind of cool, but
It is a very
It's a ship.
weird design in that it sits on its back facing upward, but I like it.
Yeah, it's unique to me, but it looks so stupid to me, even as a kid. But it's unique, so it works so well in storytelling. But in terms of, is this plausible? Is it functional? How the hell does it work? I don't know. So yeah,
I always
Well, they have
thought-
artificial gravity, so what direction the ship faces doesn't really matter.
yeah.
I always thought that it looked a little too, like if you're using it for any kind of combat or you're trying to protect yourself, it's not very good at that. It offers little protection. I mean, maybe that's not the point, but like if you just like look at a picture and you see like the quote unquote window for the cockpit, like it's pretty large, and then you look at the rest of the ship and then compare it to like what we see, like scale it to what we see on screen, it just looks off. And you know, maybe that's just down to the way it was designed or something like that, but I don't know, it just looks, in hindsight, it looks strange. I think that it's lost potential with the slave one.
But it's like looking at, say, a TIE fighter from Star Wars. You know, they're so iconic, but really, a TIE fighter, would that work? I don't know.
well, again, that ship isn't meant to function in atmosphere, so it probably doesn't need to look as aerodynamic as, say a TIE interceptor.
Well, see, the TIE fighter is, like, the way I see it, they are, they're not supposed to look fancy because you're just going to burn through them one after another.
Yeah,
Like, that's
no,
the idea of
they're
it.
they're the economy ships. They're the ships you send out when you just want to swarm the enemy and you don't care how many of your fighters get killed.
Exactly.
Well, trust me,
Man, I
I
hope the
played-
pilots aren't listening to this.
Trust me, I played TIE Fighter a lot in the 90s, and once I got access to the TIE Advanced or the TIE Defender, or at least something with shields, that was awesome. Otherwise, I just feel like I really don't feel suicidal today. I'm just gonna weave and hope I hit something.
I always thought it was ridiculous that in a galaxy where you have shield technology, to spend all those man hours training a pilot and then like putting him in a death trap. It's like it's such a waste of resources, humanitarian issues aside.
Well, if weeds out all the good pilots from the bad, I guess.
Yeah. Wasted
Well,
technology and money.
Well, okay. So speaking of ships that are very, very pretty, but functionality is somewhat dodgy. What about the Heart of Gold?
Oh, classic. From Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Good old Douglas Adams.
Or even better, the Bistromat drive from Life, the Universe, and Everything.
Yeah. Well, how did the Heart of Gold work again? Some sort of what's the drive?
It was
The infinite improbability drive.
what Derek said.
Right. So what does that actually mean? Okay.
Basically, it transport you based on the improbability of getting from one place to the other, and it doesn't always work properly because sometimes you end up way in the past, farther in the past than you intended to go, or farther in the future than you intended to go. Sometimes you end up transporting yourself into the middle of a black hole,
That would
or into the
definitely.
middle of a starship that's crashing into a sun.
Sounds like the
because-
TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Popping up in the middle of a black hole, that would definitely suck.
Yes.
Did they
Little-
describe the ship's physical appearance in the books, or did they just invent that for the movie and the TV show?
I don't remember what the description was in the books. I don't think they actually described it in the radio show. They just kind of it just appeared.
I was kind of indifferent to the movie version of it. It was just a big ball with a drive coming out the end.
I like that. I like that version.
Hmm.
I mean, it was much prettier than the Vogon ships. Those were just, bricks.
Yeah, bricks. There's some form to that, right? Yeah, yeah. Sure, it doesn't obey the law of thermodynamics, or was it the aerospace thing? But yeah, I'm not a scientist. I do try. But yeah, so yeah, resistance and fiction and all that good stuff. Hey, here's a ship. Have you talked about Serenity yet from Firefly?
Ooh, no, we have not.
It's an ugly ship. It looks like a bird that's got his neck broken.
It looks like a bug. It is a Firefly class ship. It looks like a bug.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
really a fan of its visual appearance.
This should come to a shock as no one, but I actually really like the appearance of it.
I do too.
It's very worn, and it's for the time in which Firefly was made, it was probably not very by today's standards, it looks mediocre. But when Firefly was out, maybe it was up to par, at least with TV sci-fi. Maybe not movie sci-fi, but definitely TV sci-fi. One thing I like about what we saw of the Serenity ship in Firefly and the movie was it felt like what you saw. Like, how sometimes you see ships and the inside doesn't really reflect what you see on the outside, or maybe it seems, TARDIS excluded, it seems bigger on the inside than what you see on the outside, or even vice versa. I think we got a good scale of like the rooms and whatnot with the Serenity ship. Yeah.
I agree.
And
Well,
that was a
I think
very
that's- I
very
think that
limited
was-
series too to
Yeah,
show.
but I think that was also partly partly to do with how the sets were built too, because apparently the sets were built that way, so they basically just flowed one to the other, and they were all kind of like laid out in the space that they should have been in.
Yeah.
You can do that depending on the soundstage you're on.
Hey, how about any ships? Oh, go ahead. Carry
No,
on.
go ahead. No,
What ships from Babylon 5?
the White Stars.
The White Stars is kind of sleek,
love the White Stars.
but you got all the different warships like the Agamemnon. Oh God! But you have these big giant dreadnoughts basically, and you have the sleek little attack hunter vessels like White Stars. God, I miss that show. I just rewatched that show, and all 5 seasons it definitely holds up, especially after
yeah.
season 2. From season 2 to about season 4, about there, amazing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the B5 designs. The White Stars I'm kind of half and half on, because like on the one hand they look ugly, but on the other hand, when you see them in battle flying around and shooting their beams and cutting ships up, that looks amazing. So they look bad in a still image, but in motion they were amazing. But my favorite Babylon 5 ship was actually the Narn Heavy Cruiser. That was the really big red and brown and black one. That was their main warship. I thought that was just the coolest design ever. I mean, there wasn't really anything really fancy about it. It was just kind of like a large arrowhead with some added on wings. But I just thought that one looked so cool for some reason.
This is probably gonna sound kind of bad, but I've always been kind of a fan of the shadow ships, just because these big black things with all these arms and stuff. And it just looks like something that's big and evil and gonna darken your skies.
Yeah, they were definitely cool.
Make your day bad.
Babylon 5 had the greatest space battles. I know the CGI is old at this point, but I still think they look amazing with all the different types of ships fighting and the just laser flyer and things flying everywhere. I still think they look incredible. And they actually use tactics too. It's not just, random ships flying and shooting. They actually showed the course of the battle.
I actually like there's a lot of self-awareness going on in Babylon 5, especially with the UFO designs. The whole UFO subculture stuff, which we exist in our society. The whole, close encounters of the third type UFOs that's been around since the 40s. But they incorporate that. I think that Drazi was flying these UFO types. It's so funny and so self-aware. I love that.
Yeah, I think it was Drazi that had the saucers.
Yeah, was it the Berkiri? No, I can't remember who it was. It was one of the lesser-known League of Unaligned Worlds.
Oh, wow. Chris, you ever saw Babylon 5?
I've not.
Oh.
The only time I've ever heard anything about it is all the times you guys have talked about it in our various means of communication over the years.
Oh, that's too funny.
You can watch it for free on Amazon if you have Prime.
I do have Prime. However, I have so many other shows to keep track of, so unfortunately we'll have to remain in the back burner.
It's only 110 episodes.
Only. Okay. Only.
Not counting the movies and the spin-offs and and the
books. The single spin-off.
Yeah.
And the other movies. Yeah.
Oh, and let me also put in a vote for the Agamemnon, the EA destroyer. I thought that was a great design too. I loved the spinning section in the middle of it. I always just thought those looked really cool.
I always liked Crusade, the ship from Crusade. Was it the Prometheus? No, Excalibur. Yeah.
I was really a fan
Prometheus was Stargate SG-1, and that was a neat ship too.
I can't remember what that looks like. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about size and ships? What do you guys make of this Supremacy ship from Star Wars, Snoke's ship, the Mega Class Star Destroyer?
The ship is too big. If you walk, the movie will be over. No, serious. Like, okay. If you thought the Superstar Destroyer was big, Snoke wants you to hold his beer.
Yeah,
I think I read that it's 40 times the size of a Superstar Destroyer, which is just insane.
Why do you need a ship that big?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well,
he did use it as his capital planet, so it wasn't just a warship; it was the actual seat of government for the First Order as well. But still,
but it
it's way too
big. All
big.
functional to have a ship that fucking big.
I'm reading on the Star Wars Wiki site. The wingspan is 60 kilometers across, so that's like 40 land miles. It's just insane. Wow.
Oh, now that we're mentioning Superstar Destroyers, though, I got to say that's another one of my all-time favorite ship designs. That was such a cool look. Basically, everything in Star Wars was amazing, but yeah, I think the Falcon is the most iconic spaceship of all time, surpassing the Enterprise, and closely followed by Star Destroyers, X-wings, Superstar Destroyers.
Well, I think as someone pointed out on a different podcast I was listening to, you see the regular Star Destroyer, and then in Empire you pan up to the SSD, and suddenly it's just like, whoa, and how the Star Destroyers look like gnats around it, and just like, oh, okay. No wonder there were only a couple of those in the fleet.
Yeah. How much man hours are put into actually build these things, and just why? Yeah. That's when it gets too fanciful for me. I like my more realistic stuff. So, yeah. You know what's a good ship? I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's still in the Star Wars genre. Queen Amidala's.
Amidala's?
Yeah, ship from the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars. That
was a pretty ship.
Yeah.
Do you mean the big queen ship from the opening of Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, the Naboo. Okay, Naboo Royal Starship. Yes.
I think that was just called the N2 Royal Starship. But yeah, that was another great look. And I actually have a big emotional connection to that because that was the first time I ever saw a digital movie theater. That was the opening shot, the Naboo starship coming out of the clouds, my first ever digital image. So I always think of that warmly.
Okay, I do love that ship. The only thing was the first time I saw it, and this is, being a child of the 80s that I am, the first time I saw that, I was expecting it to change shape like the ship from Flight of the Navigator. I was expecting it to morph and change, and no, wrong movie.
And to talk like Pee Wee Herman?
And to talk like Phoebe Herman, yes.
Chris, what do you think?
I don't know, Joel. I don't know.
Okay, besides the X-Wings, what's your second favorite Star Wars ship?
Ooh, okay. Another unpopular opinion for you guys.
Yes.
But I've always been a Y-Wing fan.
Ooh.
I like
been a
Y-Wings.
Y-Wing fan.
I like U-Wings.
The reason for it is because of the Lego that I had growing up. I just thought it was so cool, and the fact that it was a bomber made it even better. Well, that's what it was used for in like some of the video games around that time. So that's what I just always associate it with, as being like a slow but just big, bulky bombing machine.
Yeah.
Also was a big fan of was it the B-Wing? I want to say it was the B-Wing.
The B-Wing is it's kind of like one long wing, and the cockpit is on the one end in a rotating gyrosphere.
Yes. Yep. I had the Lego of that one too, and just like that one really overtook the X-Wing for a while. I mean, X-Wing will always be my number one favorite, but B-Wing is a very, very close second. Again, mainly because of childhood nostalgia.
Nice. You know, I forgot to mention a ship from Star Wars, which I actually quite enjoy, and it's very recent, fairly. The Hammerhead cruiser from Rogue One and the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah,
That's a cool ship. Yeah, and it served a function. It had purpose, and it carried it out at the battle of whatever happened at Rogue One, whatever the planet. Scarif, of course. So,
what do you guys think of the Mon Cal cruisers from Return of the Jedi?
They're nice.
yeah, they don't fail as a design, but it's okay. It's kind of lukewarm. Yeah, a bit fishy. I don't know.
I feel like those are very basic compared to some of the other ships that we were seeing in the original trilogy. But to be fair, like you can see why. I mean, it's it was the turn of the right at the 80s. I mean, early 80s. So you really couldn't expect much at that point.
See, now they are kind of a simple design, but I always loved the Mon Cal design for some reason. I don't know. I always thought that was kind of like a cool, basic warship design. And for the longest time, that was basically what the ships in my own stories looked like, with very minor modifications. But now I added kind of like larger arrow-shaped engine wings on them to make them look a little more different.
Well,
but I like Mon Cals.
I mean, you could kind of tell that they're built like they were built by a sea aquatic race. As it looked because the Wadcal ships always look like they could be at home, underwater or in space. Like they could be submarines or they could be spaceships.
And the reason they have all those raised weapons blisters on them is because they are originally commercial ships. But then when they defected, they had to like slap weapons onto them to use in the rebellion. So that's why there's all those bumps everywhere, because originally they were smooth, weaponless ships.
Interesting. How about from video games? I'm not much of a gamer myself. I think you guys mentioned one before, but any good ships or great ships from video games?
The ship you get when you're playing the Imperial agent in Star Wars: The Old Republic, that's a nice ship. It's all nice. It's kind of looks like the Naboo royal ship, but it's a little smaller, a little sleeker, and kind of Imperial.
The Outrider, is it? What's the ship in Shadows of the Empire? The Outrider.
The Outrider.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it's basically just a modification of a Millennium Falcon, but I always thought that was a cool look too.
I always liked the Ebonhawk from Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah,
that one also looks good.
I mean, again, that's also very symmetrical compared to some of the other Star Wars ships at that time. But
yeah, I'm actually waiting for them to release that on Galaxy of Heroes, since they've been doing all of the Knights of the Old Republic characters lately.
Oh, what did you guys think of the new original look of the Falcon from the Solo movie?
It was definitely Lando's ship before, Han crashed it.
Yeah, I like a ship that's been well used as opposed to, right out of the box, so to speak. The factory fresh. Yeah, I can take it or leave it.
Chris?
I have no thoughts. I just I don't know. No thoughts really.
You saw the movie, right?
Of course.
Okay. Just checking.
I had to see a Star Wars movie to remind myself that Star Wars can actually be halfway decent after seeing the treachery that was The Last Jedi.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of the original look of the Falcon, but it was okay because I knew all along that it was going to get fixed over the course of the movie. But I didn't like the way it looked with the escape pod in the front. It just kind of ruined the iconic signature of it.
Yeah, well,
and yeah, it looked way too clean on the inside.
Well, that's because it was Lando's and not Han's.
Yeah.
Han thought it was too clean, at least according to a couple of the books.
In all seriousness, I think that it was. I think the fact that we're already fans sort of dampers our viewpoint a little bit. I think if you are just somebody that's never seen the Millennium Falcon before, and you're a kid or even an adult, and you watch the movies in chronological order, so you know nothing about the Millennium Falcon up until Solo. I think I'd sort of be curious to see somebody's opinion of whether or not they like the original design or the quote unquote original, the clean one or the original, I guess you could say, because yeah, I mean there is a difference there obviously, but I think we're a little biased because we're so used to it at this point.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's so iconic. So like it's weird to think about, you can use something that's been around for a long time. I'm going to use the TARDIS as an example. It's always had like the outside, the police box has always stayed the same, but the inside has gone through different kinds of redesigns based on the doctor that is piloting it. And I think the Falcon, it's funny because you think about, like, if you take a brand new Millennium Falcon out of the box, it's technically not supposed to be the one that we're all used to. And that's just weird to think about, just because, we're all used to one specific design, but that's really not the way that it was originally intended to be.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just something to think about.
I'm just happy if there's a bar aboard the ship.
And a cape closet.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you can play games like chess or something like that. Yes. So just closing up or wrapping up, guys, any last thoughts about starships or spacecraft, or what you look for or what you don't look for?
I'm a fan of the Sulaco from Aliens. I thought that was a really cool ship design because on the one hand, it's kind of a basic brick shape, but the way it has those kind of squid arms sticking out the front of it gave it a very aggressive look, kind of made it look like a gun with like bayonets sticking out the front. I thought that was cool looking.
Yeah, exactly. When it hosts a Marine Recon, regiment, it was really cool.
And while it's an intentionally ugly design, I thought the Nostromo looked really cool as well because it was basically like an oil rig in space, but it just looks so, I don't know, bizarre and improbable the way it was had like a flat base and then these huge towers sticking out of it. It was a very interesting look.
Carrie, anything?
Yes.
Cool.
I've actually always been kind of a fan of the Goa'uld ships from Stargate. They're just flying.
Oh
pyramid.
yeah, those did look cool. Yeah, I was.
And the fact that they were designed to fit over the actual pyramid, that was just like, okay. So much for my need to have ships be aerodynamic. Those are definitely not. They're just, like I said, ginormous pyramids in space.
Okay, how about this? Enterprise D versus Enterprise E. Which one do you prefer?
I like the E better.
Yeah, me too. I love the E. I think it looks amazing.
It must be out of this world. I don't know.
I mean, like, I grew up with the D, and I think it's a great-looking design and everything, but when the E came out, it was like a revelation. It was much more, warship-looking and angular and aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about, right? So,
the aggression.
Yes, definitely. Chris, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just have one question for you guys, and I know this has sort of been a little Star Wars heavy, so I apologize for that, but... what is your guys' opinion on The Force Awakens and Last Jedi sort of reusing some of the designs from the old trilogy. I mean, I know like the First Order is essentially the Empire rebooted. So what are your thoughts on, reusing that, and even the Republic continuing to use like X-wings and whatnot? Like, do you think in that 30-year time frame that the Republic should have at least upgraded a little bit, or the First Order should have, I don't know, fixed some of the design flaws of their predecessor?
Fix some of the design flaws. They designed a ship that is 4 times the size of a Super Star Destroyer.
40.
Yeah, but just because you have a big ship doesn't mean it's going to help you.
They designed a Star Destroyer that had 2 hulls that you could fly between, because no one would think to fly between those hulls and blow the ship up from the middle. Like, okay, yeah, I was like, who thought these were good ideas? Oh wait, these guys are descended from the Empire. Never mind.
Yeah,
the Empire is not the smartest of the bunch.
I think it makes perfect sense in the story for that to happen, because the First Order is literally just Empire fanboys trying to recreate the old days. So it makes perfect sense that they would use the same designs. And I think the First Order Star Destroyers look really cool with that underbite coming out the front. I think that looks cool. And I think the black TIE fighters look better than the original gray TIE fighters too.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that the Resistance would still be using X-wings, because they don't have proper funding. They're basically using old ships from the last war, because and we never got to see what the New Republic fleet looks like. So for all we know, the New Republic did have snazzy new ship designs, but they got blown up off screen at Hosnian Prime. So
or because I think the New Republic had essentially disarmed itself by that point.
That's true. Yeah, so whatever they
there
had,
wouldn't be there wouldn't be an armada for Leia to have access to.
Yeah, good point.
I will say that I do like Kylo Ren's Starfighter that we see in The Last Jedi.
Yes,
even though it's
that
very
was
reminiscent of like the one of the old TIE designs, it's still pretty cool.
Agreed.
Yeah. With me, just looking at it not from a geek perspective, just from a legacy perspective, or a historical context perspective, I think when there's new content, Star Wars content, they have to refer back to the older models somehow. So we can see it in our real life world, where you can look at fighters from the Second World War, your Hurricanes, your Spitfires. Then fast forward to in 2018, you can see certain similarities to, say, an F-35 or a stealth fighter. And I like that, because it shows that's how technology progresses. And yeah, sure, in a fiction world of Star Wars, who knows? And yeah, of course, it's bullshit because it's fiction, but it's still neat because you have to come up with concepts and ideas and reasons why things change over time.
Well, the other thing to think about is if you go back to the Old Republic, which was thousands and thousands of years before, starships looked almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
So they didn't really evolve that much over the millennia.
Yeah, but it's not like you see biplanes, right, in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
And looking at it from a commercial perspective, obviously the entire point of The Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy is to cash in on the nostalgia of the original trilogy. So if you had spaceships that looked nothing like the old ones, you would be shooting yourself in the foot, financially speaking.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know my last thoughts of this episode is I look forward to the day where I can actually afford my own X-Wing. So I just can go in and jump on that little horse, so to speak, and just fly out and fly away and continue my life elsewhere. So, yes.
Where would you fly to, Joel?
Someplace warm, someplace interesting, and someplace where there's a decent bar with great clientele.
Nice.
So
you can buy an X-Wing drone for about $100 now.
Really? Yeah. Would it carry my weight? I don't weigh all that much. But,
no.
You might have to diet some first.
Will it make it out of the atmosphere? And is it warp capable? So yeah.
It depends on what it's strapped to.
Oh God. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Exactly. Wow. God. Okay. Let's close this episode up.
Oh wait, did we mention how awesome the Defiant is from DS9?
I think we did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's important.
Yeah, great. Lovely. Yeah. Okay. Let's close. All right. So our social media channels, 3 channels. I mentioned it at the top of the show, but I do the Twitter and I do the Instagram. Twitter's more like sci-fi news and the occasional, hopefully witty quip by me. Instagram's more beer, food, and anything bar, pub related. Derek does the Facebook, and he does geek news mostly, right, Derek?
Yep.
And keep on doing that. And if you have a problem with what Derek's posted, please take it up with him and not me. So our shows.
But you're our fearless leader, Joel. Everything's your fault.
Of course it is, and I'm used to this now. Because why? Because I read a self-help book that says I shouldn't give a fuck. So yes. Our show Twitter address is at SciFi Pubcast. And if you can email us, if you want to do the old-fashioned email, as opposed to like old-fashioned regular mail, is at management@scifipubcast.space. And of course, if you want to support us, well, don't send us any money because we don't really do this, but you can leave us an Apple Podcast review, and that'd be very, very helpful. Carrie, what's your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
And Derek?
I am at Derek J. Beebe.
And Chris?
I'm at The Curse of Chris.
Lovely. And my Twitter address is at Joel_Welch, my first and last name. That's it, guys. Our next episode will be out in about 2 or 3 weeks. That's kind of our production schedule since we're now an independent show and we all have lives. If you want to be on our podcast, you have a great topic you want to talk about, please contact us because we want this to be a community show. We want this to be part of the solution of being positive within communities and talking about ideas and conversing. And we want different perspectives and we want diversity in thought. So please contact us.
And we love having guests because then Joel doesn't yell at us.
Yeah, shut up, Derek.
No. He's got to put on his good face, right?
That doesn't stop him, Derek. And he's just yelling at you.
Oh, but then again, he did just read a book about not giving a fuck, so I guess that doesn't matter anymore.
Lovely. And actually, the book is not about giving a fuck. It's only about giving a fuck about certain things. So there you go. Okay, closing time. Make it home safe. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you very, very much. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.